Go live. Click go live. Do, 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 do.
I'll probably end up going. I mean, that
Yeah,
sounds like fun.
what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, hell, we'll just have a bunch of fun. Ooh,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yeah, I haven't seen him live in like 8 years. And so, like, I've been trying to catch up on his discography.
Frank Turner and the Sleeping Souls.
Yeah, because he used to be a, like, solo act-ish.
Oh.
But, yeah, he used to be a solo, and then sometimes he will have a band, and then he'll go solo again, then sometimes he'll have a band again. So it sounds like he's in a have a band phase. I guess I need to figure out what, like, the set lists he's been running are.
Go to setlist.fm.
Oh, he's got a set list there?
Setlist.fm is community.
Oh,
based.
okay.
I love that because you can go and like almost every show I go to, I analyze what they've done previously.
Yeah. Because that's what I need to do is I need to figure out what his... Because he tweeted out a set list that was fake. Because there's like 8 of the songs were just like meme songs, basically. And then one was like one that he won't ever like sing again anymore. Because it causes too much controversy when he sings it.
There's a have you ever heard of Government Mule?
Mm-mm.
You should check them out. So Government Mule, they are coming this fall. They're like a dad blues, but like really really good dad blues band, like and big time kind of stuff. They're coming to Red Rocks and they're playing their entire version of Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, okay.
So they did like a dad blues version of it, and Lauren and I are for sure going. I'm trying to convince Joe and Sarah. Sarah seems to be in. Joe's like, but you should totally come up for that, dude. Joe doesn't seem to be into that stuff, but like he's a good sport. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. My mic boom just keeps wanting to invade my space.
This is my no square.
Yeah. Well, it just keeps coming up and like bumps me in the chin. But yeah, I can't wait. So yeah, I'll go to that set list and figure out what he's been playing on this tour so far.
So so April 11th on setlist.fm
Mm-hmm.
shows that he only played 7 songs. Maybe that's right. April 10th. Oh, April 10th he played 21 songs. So he might have been like an opener for something.
Yeah. Because this isn't his... I think that... the Denver place he's the headliner.
Here, I'm going to send you his set list on Slack.
Let me make sure he's the headliner for the show.
Oh, he is.
I'm pretty sure he is.
There, I just slacked you his setlist.fm.
Oh man, I haven't even listened to these last two albums. It's not good. You said that was April?
He actually, yeah. He actually has a set list. There's already a set list for tonight. So if you log in tomorrow, it'll be what he played tonight.
So tonight is the 20th.
He's in Canada.
Canada. Oh, so that's actually the beginning of this new tour.
Yeah.
11
Basically, every band I go see, if they're big, I go to setlist.fm and see what they got. It's kind of nice because you can go to setlist.fm and it will build a playlist for you, so you can just because like Iron Maiden and stuff, when they go on tour, they play the same 10 songs guaranteed.
Yeah.
They might flip their
order
when they play them, but they play so you could set a set list and you know what to study before the before
Okay,
the
so
exam.
about 60% of this I actually just know straight off the top of my head, which is good.
Here's the thing: if you scroll down on any one day, it gives you statistics about about their set list and what they play. So, and it'll even tell you.
Oh
like,
yeah, it has songs
Yeah.
and albums. Okay.
It'll even tell you what albums they typically play from and stuff, so you know what to go listen to. I love setlist.fm.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's so great.
Okay. So he's playing a lot from his newer album, which I don't know yet. He's played 4 from it. So I need to go listen to that. Because I haven't heard of... He's got FTHC, Frank Turner. What's HC stand for? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. And then Be More Kind. I haven't heard that one yet. But Tape That Cart was my last album I bought from him, and it was really good.
Okay, so real quick,
Mm-hmm.
let's back up to crawfish boil.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be boiling that much crawfish, I have an idea, and let me just pass this by you. I have a keg out in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
What if I just cut the top off and we use that as a crawfish boil tank?
You can do that. You need a basket for it, though.
I don't know. I don't think I have a pot big, like a full size crawfish.
Yeah,
boil
you really need a pot that can do at least. Ideally, you do it per
pot bag.
but that's like a big, like 120 quart pot. Like that's a big ass pot. Like you're talking like a pot that's like that big around.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. But
do you have anything with a deep basket?
the deepest basket I have is like a pasta one, and it's deep, but we would be doing lots of batches, and I'm willing to pick up a pot for this if we need.
Okay, I would do it so that if we were going to do a sack, is figure out doing it either basically in 2 batches,
Yeah.
16 pounds apiece, or splitting it up to 3s, because so the whole thing with a crawfish boil is it gets spicier each batch. Okay, so you start out with a mild-ish,
batch, yeah.
mild in quotes batch, and then you see how that goes, and if it's good, then you add more
adjust.
seasoning.
Yeah.
Do that one, and then the last one is like the what is this crawfish boil, Emmett? We haven't started the podcast yet. We're just talking about crawfish. So like the one I was at 2 weekends ago, or was it last weekend? It was last weekend. No, it was 2 weekends ago. We cooked like 6 batches of crawfish
Emmett,
in 2 pots.
I do not want to contaminate my beer brewing rig with crawfish
No.
juice.
No,
That is-
it's and some of the seasoning is actually oils,
Yep.
There's no way you're gonna get that ever like out of
Nope.
your keg
That
or
ain't
whatever.
touching. Right there is my beer brewing rig, and it does one thing: make beer.
Yeah, I would not want that to come anywhere.
I do have a 15-gallon pot for my hot liquor tank, and that would work. But I ain't. I'm no.
Yeah,
the
I
answer
would.
is, I'm saying if I had that for other reasons, I would use it. I'm not touching that.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That's why I was thinking the keg would be perfect. Maybe I could go get some mesh and just TIG weld up a quick basket, and then use a 15-gallon keg, and that would be huge, Yeah, maybe you could buy a basket for a keg.
You have a turkey burner?
I do.
Dude, a 20-quart like, oh, that's aluminum.
Crawfish. Aluminum's fine. It'll work.
Mm. I wonder if I have any spare pots. Let me look real quick.
Are you gonna fly up with a pot?
No, I must have gotten rid of them.
Okay.
That's like what? 4
That's
gallons?
my next.
3
That's
gallons?
the next biggest one.
That doesn't look that big.
22 quart.
22 quarts?
That's the biggest I have that isn't a keg or just the keg.
I mean, you can get a 20 quart with basket and stuff for like $50.
Well, okay, so wait, no, I'm sorry. I have a turkey burner one. I mean, a turkey fryer one.
Yeah, you just you have to have a basket that fits it though.
I'm pretty sure it came with a basket.
Like a deep basket that goes all the way down to the bottom.
Let me just go to Amazon. I bet you they're cheap. What
That's
do
how
you
I'm
even
looking
put
now.
in?
That's why I just said it's $50 for 20 quarter.
Is that even big enough? I mean, that pot that just showed you is only 22.
Yeah.
Like, I'm almost thinking, like, if we had a 40 quart or something like that.
I wonder if there's like a pot size. 2 quarts of water per pound of crawfish.
So we need, so 30 pounds would be 15 quarts of water?
No, 2 quarts of water per pound. So a
Oh,
sack
so
is 60. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I had it backwards. Yeah.
I think we were cooking in 80 quart pots last weekend. That sounds right.
60 quart pot.
Remember, we don't want to do 60 at once, though. We need a...
Yeah, but I just wanted to see how much
We
that
need
would
like
cost.
a 30 quart pot.
Do 2 batches, basically. Well, you could do 3 20s.
I would do 3 20s. Most guests will consume 3 pounds.
I kind of actually doubt that, especially with all the sides and everything. And yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Every single time I do when I put away like 5 pounds and I eat a tons of sides. That's like the only thing I eat that day.
Crawfish is so good. Okay, we can get stuff on Amazon. 180 quart.
Yeah, we don't need one. Yeah, we don't need one that big. But you're gonna want like a 34-pound sack. And if you get the choice, I would spring, especially since you're gonna have to transport them that far. I would spring for. Usually they have what's called a select or premium selection,
Get the good stuff.
and it's the same crawfish, but they consistently pick the size. So then
You just get big boys.
they're not even that. They're not even the super big. So like the 80%. They're the perfect size.
The big guys actually start to taste a little rubbery. So yeah, they're the correct size.
Yes.
They're not the little like pinky size guys.
Correct.
Or like the
Yeah, you're gonna
lobsters.
want the whatever they call it, because some of them call them selects, some of them call premiums, some of them call them sorted, because that's just what it is. It's like they gone through and sorted them out.
So here's a 36 quart stainless steel pot with a basket. That would be more than enough.
How much? How big?
It's a 36 quarts.
It's a little too big, but yeah.
Okay.
Like, how many quarts is your turkey fryer?
Let me see.
Because if it's 24 or bigger, it'd be fine. It just needs a basket. Most guess is subjective. Yeah. Guess you can't find a turkey fryer.
No, I actually can't find the box for the turkey fryer. It's not written on the pot.
Is it bigger than the
But-
pot that you picked up earlier?
No, I would say it's about the same. It's thinner and taller, so it's got to be about the same. So it's probably 20 to 24 quarts.
Do you have a basket that fits it, though?
No.
Oh, okay. He forgot what he was looking for. Yeah, we should just get something then. Oh, that's right. I was about to say you should just go to the academy and get one. I'm like, oh wait, you don't have academies.
No, and the people up here don't like they don't sell this kind of stuff at the store because
No.
you know in Texas like this is like right when you go into HEB kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
you go to you can buy everything you need to cook crawfish at an HEB or an academy or a Buc-ee's. Where else could you get that stuff? Like all of it.
Probably Walmart to be honest.
Well, yeah, Walmart, but that's cheating.
That's cheap. 32 quarts? You think that's too much?
Because that's like 15 pounds.
That'd be 2 batches.
The right answer. Machine yourself a pot.
Yeah,
Solid billet pot.
I like it. It's not machine because like pots are formed; they're not machined. He's
Yeah.
talking about like just hogging out
Hogging out.
like
and
98% of the material.
Yeah. Quarter-inch wall pot.
That's like the low poly smoker.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem with that kind of pot is it's not really useful for anything else. It's too big to fry fish in. It's too big
Oh,
for
you
a
would
turkey
spend
fryer.
hundreds of dollars in oil.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much just all it's good at is boiling stuff.
Which I have done large batches of gumbo before, which that's fun. You just set
Oh,
up the
yeah.
turkey burner and you get gumbo out in the parking lot. Hell yeah.
You know what? That's what we should do. Not gumbo, but we should make like a really sticky jambalaya to go with the crawfish. And then we'll be fine with a sack. And then we know we'll be okay. Because the jambalaya, if there's leftover jambalaya, you just keep it. Whereas like the crawfish is not going to be good the next day.
The part that really sucks is trash comes Friday morning, which means that we make all of that trash and it has to the dead crawfish for a week. You know my garage is gonna stink.
I would keep it outside in the backyard.
I would go pay somebody to throw it in their dumpster.
Bring it to work.
Crawfish is yikes.
Stinky.
Yeah, they get nasty fast. I usually mow my lawn Thursday, such that I can just throw it in the trash and it's gone in a day.
Mhm.
Because even if you let grass clippings sit out, they stink.
Yeah, they start to stink. Start to mulch up.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get a drink and then let's start the podcast. I can't wait. I'm super excited. This is going to be such a fun weekend.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
And then, like, 1 month later, I'm back in Denver again to do the Alpine Trail and Pikes Peak.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Wow, that's already.
Yeah,
Is it
end of
June?
June, very end of June. It's like the last week in June.
All right.
That's actually one thing I was going to ask is like, are you going to Pikes Peak or not?
Yeah, I'm in. Count me
Okay.
in on that.
Is Lauren going?
Probably not.
Could she
Especially if there's camping.
Yeah, there's camping. Can she
Yeah,
take
then
care
no.
of King?
I can ask her.
I was planning on driving up
Right.
because we're going to go to the Alpine Trail, so I was going to bring my Jeep up. And I was going to bring King, but I got to figure King dogs aren't allowed on the racetrack. And so I'm like, okay, King has to go hang out somewhere for a couple days while we do Pikes Peak.
Yeah.
Because basically, we go up, do Pikes Peak, and then after Pikes Peak, we're going to go do the Alpine Trail. So, man, if there was a place I could drop King off in, like, out in Colorado Springs, that would be the best. So I have to go all the way back into Denver and get King and then come all the way back out. Because Alpine Loop is, like, southwest Colorado. It's not like the Pikes Peak area.
And you're flying in this time around, right?
For
Frank Turner.
yeah, I'm flying in. I'm not spending the 2 days of drive. All right, let me drink.
Okay, here's my thought.
Mm-hmm.
I could save a little bit of money, and I can actually do something with that keg.
Okay.
Get that keg, go around, like measure. A keg is about 16 and a half inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
Just cut it into, like, cut it around the diameter and just make a tall pot and just buy a strainer that fits it.
Very coarse strainer.
Yeah, like with the big holes in it.
Well, about holes about that big.
Yeah, yeah. So, like
Which
on
is- hold
Amazon,
on,
I'm
let me
looking
get
at
a
it.
caliper. 12 millimeters.
Half an inch. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm seeing on Amazon there's 30 quart, there's 40 quart. I saw 20 quart strainers. Just buy one of those, shove it down in the
Yep.
keg.
If it's big, if it'll fit.
Well, that's just the thing. I can cut the keg to whatever size we need. Just get out my angle grinder and bzzz.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's just do that. It saves us a little bit of money, and that keg's just been sitting in my garage for years.
That thing's gonna be nasty. Opening that thing up.
No, Roz cleaned it out a long time ago,
You
and
sure?
he gave it to me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Also, I know he and I ran vinegar through it. We did it. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
We cleaned it a long time ago, but it's not doing anything but sitting on the ground, and I can save about half the amount of money we would spend if I just repurpose the keg.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a good idea.
And I know it fits on the turkey burner and everything. Like, it's all
Mhm.
yeah, all gravy.
And that's 5 gallons. So it's 20 quarts.
Well, the keg, I can cut it to whatever we want. If we want 15 gallons, I can cut it to that.
No. It's a 5-gallon keg, right?
No, it's a full-size keg. It's
Oh.
a beer keg.
Oh.
No, it's like a
Okay.
full keg.
Okay.
So basically, what we could do is cut the top off of it.
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it a
yeah.
pot, and then drop a basket down it.
Yeah. Just do it that way. Yep.
Yeah, easy.
Yep.
And it's steel. It's not going to impart any
Stainless
flavor
steel, yeah.
or anything like that. Yeah,
I would
so
cut-
It's fine.
Can you cut it so you can keep the handles on it?
Yep, I could just the part where it's domed. I can just cut the dome off.
Yeah, cut the dome off and just leave it tall.
Uh-huh.
Because having more volume is okay.
Yeah. Well, having more volume also means you just have to spice the snot out of it, but I don't care about that.
Spices are inexpensive.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's what
I'm into it.
Yeah. I was really hoping you could machine yourself the pot. That'd be really cool.
Well, I was just about to mention, though, like, I am, because I have to take an angle grinder to some stainless steel. That counts as machining.
Does it?
You know what I should do? I should get out my TIG welder, and I should weld, like a crawfish into the side of the of the pot. Do some TIG art, you know?
That TIG art.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Let's do this right here. Okay. Oh, we gotta come up with the intro thing. There we go.
It's truthful.
It's truthful. Yep. Well, it's if we get to that topic. Because most of the time we don't get to our last couple topics.
Who knows? Yeah.
Welcome to the Macrofab Engineering Podcast, a weekly show about all things engineering, DIY projects, manufacturing, industry news, and exploding rockets. We're your hosts, electrical engineers, Parker Dillman.
And Stephen Craig.
This is episode 376. And so, before we get started, may the Fab be with you. On May 4th is coming up soon. It's like, what, a week away? It's like next week, right?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Thursday of next week.
Yeah, so we'll have one more episode recorded by then, but it won't come out by then. So this is the last episode that will be released before that event. Go to macrofab.com/events. That's where you can go RSVP and see what's happening at the event itself. There's going to be tours, that kind of stuff at our new facility. That means, like, I have to spend next week, like, cleaning up the old engineering lab. It's still, like, only half moved into.
Is it just like random boxes and stuff?
Just boxes everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
But hey, it's good motivation to do it.
Yeah. So
one of the tricks I always do, and I text my wife whenever this is happening. If we ever need the house cleaned, I invite people over. I make up a reason for friends to come over, and then it's like, well, now we have to clean.
Yeah.
And every time it happens, I always text her and be like, "See, it worked because the house is super clean."
That's just gaslighting your wife.
No, it's gaslighting me to actually clean the house. Like, I am so good at doing things if I have a reason to go do them. But just like doing things for the sake of doing them, that's so hard. And cleaning fits in that, unfortunately.
I guess. I have a piece of software called that I've been using called AutoSyst. And it's like mostly for like fleet management, where you can like punch in like a car, and then you can put all the maintenance items. And
wait. We gotta pause for a second. Are you calling it the fleet now? Do you have a fleet of cars?
Technically, yes, but no, I don't call it the fleet. I don't call it the fleet.
You should. No, you totally should. That's fantastic.
And so I use it to mostly do the maintenance on the cars, so that like when you fill a car up, you punch in the gas mileage into your phone because it has an app. So you go like, okay, I'm filling up, and the my odometer is this, and so it keeps track of your miles. That's pretty much what I use it for. So like when like, oh, it's 6,000 miles, it will alert you to your maintenance items. It's easy to remember maintenance for one car. When you start having 3 cars that you have to start maintaining now, you always start forgetting stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, then when the checker is driving, that'd be 4 cars. So,
and it's called AutoSyst?
AutoSyst, and I like it a lot. And I also started putting other stuff on the maintenance, like my my air compressor. And so the air compressor, I put an hour meter on it so I can just see how long the hours run for. But the cool thing about the software is it also has time based too. So like if it's been 6 months and you still haven't hit, let's say, the mile requirement for your oil change, it will still let you know, hey, it's been 6 months since your last oil change. You should change your oil. That kind of stuff. So
That's
like,
cool.
so I have like the air compressor on a monthly check to basically go write down the hour, what the hour meter says. Basically punch it in as gas, in quotes. And so, or in miles. Basically, I'm using hours as miles. And it's like, every 10 hours or 20 hours, you change the oil for the compressor, right? Or something like that.
Hell, even just opening the drain plug and
so all that stuff for the compressor is in there.
Oh.
Just so I remember, because it used to be like I bought that air compressor back in the middle of 2020, and I had not opened up the drain plug yet.
Oh,
and it's been like 3 years. Fortunately, there was not a lot in there.
I was just about to ask, did you open it up and it just dumped everything?
It only dumped about a quart.
That's not actually that bad.
For Houston in 3 years, that's not bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's not bad at all.
No.
The compressor you've given me, I haven't checked the oil or dumped it. I probably need to do that. Although, given where it's at, I doubt there's anything in the tank.
Yeah, I did dump the tank out, and I did put fresh oil in it before I gave it to you.
Right, I remember you saying that, and I've had it now for how long?
2 years? Year and a half?
year and a half, something like that, and it is not terribly heavily used. It's very much like Garage Warrior used.
Yeah, it gets used seldom, but when it does get used, it's like 100% duty cycle for like a weekend.
Yeah, well, and any use in between that is just like, oh, I need to clean off my workbench. Psh, just spray off
That's
the
it.
whole
Yeah,
workbench.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mine's the same way. It's like like you don't use it during the week, but when you do use it, it's like 100% duty cycle for the entire weekend running.
Yeah, very hard usage.
Yeah. The one I did get though is it's designed for like 100% continuous use. So I made sure when I spec that way, because I was finding the same thing out with that. The one I gave you was like I was running when I did use it. I was running it like all the way topped out, and I was like, this is probably not good for this compressor.
Probably not.
No,
That thing still runs good.
it ran great. Yeah, I never had a problem with that compressor.
It doesn't take that long to fill the tank too, which is nice.
Yes, it is it's a pretty quick compressor.
Yeah.
I think that's basically like the, because it's like a mid-range Harbor Freight compressor. It's like basically the first compressor you can get, or the cheapest compressor you can get that actually has an oil reservoir for the compressor. Because everything else that's cheaper is like oilless.
Mm-hmm.
Which means the moment you try to run like 100% duty cycle, it's just going to like cook the piston.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And then they say, that's a you problem.
that's a you problem. Yeah. So, anyways, I use that software. Where were we getting at with that?
We were talking about
cleaning and stuff like that. I put in a monthly reminder to clean stuff.
What do you mean by stuff?
Like okay, toilets. So like
okay,
so like clean the bathroom.
Just a chore list.
It's a chore list, but it actively bugs you about it until you do it.
Oh,
I know
nice.
I know you can do it in Google Calendar or whatever, but it's doing something just to do it, even though it's something you need to do, or like it gets gross.
Toilets are different than, I don't know. There's a handful of other chores that, like, if they're neglected, they don't get as gross as toilets. So those are ones that you just do, and make sure you maintain.
But I just have it as a list now. Like, I also have there's my dad's chainsaw in his generator, and so I run those like every month. And so it reminds me every month, hey, you need to run these because they're carbureted devices, so they just need to be ran. Stuff like that.
Something I find funny is when it comes to day job or your work environment, keeping your not your bench itself or your office desk, but your workbench that you're doing whatever work at, keeping that clean is not that difficult. Like the idea of it's the end of the day, put my tools up,
put everything away.
My workbench at home is a completely different situation, even though it is in so many ways similar to what I do at my day job. Like the way I kind of feel about workbench is like I'm trying to execute things and I'm trying all these new concepts, and the way it gets cleaned is when I need like a reset. Like I'm starting a new project, the very first thing I do is I'll straight up get cleaning wipes and get the table like flawless so I can feel good about starting the next project. But the whole thing about end of the day, it's 5S or whatever, like keep it clean and clean up your bench, that goes out the window the second I leave the office, like the day job. Like, at home it's a different beast.
Yeah, I'm hoping to find some different software. Like maybe I haven't tried looking around yet, but maybe an open source or like a free alternative to Autosys, because I'm basically kind of maxing out like the cheapy plan. And I'm like, I need more, more functionality. So, I'm hoping to see. I gotta start looking around and see if there's like a free alternative or something like that, like an open source I can run on my own server or something. Because I would like to have an app, like a way so I can punch in like the gas mileage and that kind of stuff, so it keeps track of your mileage. So.
Yeah. No, that's a cool way of doing it. I like the fact that there's it's time or mileage.
Yeah.
Not just one.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to ignore one of those.
It's very easy. Yeah, because like Google Calendar would take care of time, but it would have no concept of, like, if you drove, halfway across the nation, came back, and then you had to do maintenance on it. Like, it would have no concept of that.
It wouldn't care.
No. I guess you could combine, like, Google Maps, like your location with that, but then you'd have to tell it what car you're driving.
I think what you just said there is the problem, though, where you said you could combine it.
Yeah.
Once again, it relies on you actually executing on something, and that's the whole purpose of one of these things, is that it takes you out of the equation.
Exactly.
Other than, like, yeah, sure, you have to go and either you change the oil or you take it somewhere to change the oil. You have to remove the you element out of it as much as possible.
Yeah, like doing the maintenance is that I enjoy doing that. It's just I have to remind myself when to go do it.
Right.
No.
Speaking of that, my truck really needs an oil change. I don't drive it much, so in terms of its mileage, it's probably fine. But its timing wise, it's well overdue for an oil change.
Probably should do that.
Yeah, I need to get on that.
All right, our first topic of this week is
it's not about cleaning.
Not about cleaning or software to remind you of maintenance items. It is favorite episodes from listeners. This is not actually from listeners yet. That's a question to our listeners. I'm currently writing an article of, like, because we have 376 episodes. When this one comes out, we have 376. And I'm writing an article for, like, if you are a new listener to the Mac 5 Engineering Podcast, these are where you should start.
Yeah.
Because, like, telling people to start at number 1 is probably not a good idea. It took us quite a while to kind of hit our stride. And people who've been listening to us for 376 episodes will know that.
I've thought about this before because in just passing with meeting new people or whatever, you talk to people and what do you do, and tell them, and then I'm also part of a podcast, and they're like, oh, tell me about the podcast, blah blah blah, and I always have to think of, like, should I tell these people to listen to the one we just did last week, or should I tell them something else? Because I always have to think about that, and so yeah, I think it's fun to look back and try to figure out, like, what would we say is a good episode to go listen to, or better yet, what is your favorite episode, Parker?
So I'm going to cheat because you're going to say the same thing, I think, is the Star Wars episodes are my favorites. Those aren't very good ones to point people to, though.
They're not indicative of, like, all the rest of the weeks of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I think the one we had with Josh, our editor, was probably one of my favorite episodes we ever did.
The Star Wars one with Josh?
No, we did one with just Josh.
Just Josh. That was way early on.
It was very early. I think that was like a sub 150 episode.
I mean, that was a bomb shelter episode.
Yeah, it was in the bomb shelter. And that was a really fun podcast. Or the one with Michael Lyons of Centex Paranormal, which was also a really early.
Was way early.
That was before the bomb shelter was the bomb shelter. Because remember, we did that one.
That was right outside the bomb shelter.
Yeah, we did that one in, like, a security booth at the post office.
And it was hot.
It was super hot.
I felt bad. Because we actually had a guest in person, and it was like 90 degrees.
90 degrees.
In that room.
Yeah. And we drank. All we had to keep ourselves cool was beer. So we drank so much beer on that episode.
That was fun.
I love those 2 episodes. There's probably way more. Like we had James Lewis, who's the bald engineer. We've had him on the podcast, I think twice. Definitely at least once
right. Yeah.
to talk about
Yeah.
capacitors, and the capacitor episode was great.
You know,
So yeah, if I was gonna pick 3, that would be the 3 then.
okay. So I'm gonna cheat maybe just a little bit, and those who listen to it probably laugh about this, but I obviously fangirled quite a bit. But when we had Brandon Sander on from Inheritance Machining just 2 weeks ago, that was fantastic. Just because I love his work so much, and it was awesome to have him on. That was a really, really fun episode for me. I also love the what are they called? Idea Tank podcast.
Oh yes,
Those ones are just you know what's funny about it is like the episodes where we just get to like goof off a bit tend to be really fun, and the Idea Tank ones are very goofy. And so that was, gosh, we've done, I think 3 episodes with them.
yeah, that sounds correct.
3? No, 3 sounds about right. Yeah, 3.
Actually, I think we did 2, and then we had one of them on to talk about Retro Bright.
Retro Bright. That's right. Scott came on.
Yes.
To talk about. No, I thought we did 3. Regardless, those episodes, the Idea Tank episodes, are a ton of fun. You know, and it's funny because like our regular episodes, like I guess you would consider what we're doing right now a regular episode, just because there's not a guest or a special topic. We've had so many that were just off the cuff fun that it would be hard to pick one of those. So I'm not just saying like, hey, go listen to our entire catalog, but I guess I'm saying, hey, go listen to our entire catalog. But yeah, I would say favorite episodes, Inheritance Machining for sure, Idea Tank, and of course, I'm going to say the same thing. The Star Wars episodes are awesome.
They're so much fun.
They're so much fun.
Yeah. Even this past one, I think like this last episode that was Star Wars that we did last which we 2022 December. Yeah. It's going to be really hard to top because all of our topics, like everyone did like a super in-depth topic.
And it was long.
And it was like 2.5 hours. Yeah, and we still could keep going. That was the thing. I had to stop us. I was like, guys, we're at like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we had to stop because one of the people had to go to bed.
Yeah, Josh had. Roz had to go to bed.
Yeah. That was solid.
But we're like, guys, we got to stop because Roz has to go to bed. Because like we even said like, Roz, you gotta go to bed, and then Roz went on like a 10-minute tear at the end of the episode.
Okay, so the Star Wars episodes, what's funny about them is the fact that out of any episode that we do, I hear like no noise whatsoever. What I mean by noise is like the Slack channel never mentions anything about them. Like we never get a tweet like saying like, hey, check this out or whatnot. Like it's almost like they don't exist. Like nobody mentions them, but I love them so much.
Yeah. And that's okay. Because those are
totally.
really, those episodes are for us and our friends to do.
They are really fun. And in previous years we have done things surrounding them. Like we played a Star Wars RPG, not this last year, but the year before that. Mm-hmm. We played a whole RPG like a few days before, and then went and did it. So like, you know, just get in the mood kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Is there a super? I guess we're tangenting here, but is there? What do we have this year that's coming out Star Wars related? We have Mandalorian.
That one's already done.
Yeah, which I haven't even started.
Season 3 is already done. Yeah, I haven't started it either. I love the Netflix model of they just dump all the episodes and then I can find the time to go binge it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah,
because then it's fresh in your mind, like know all the whole thing.
Yeah, it's fresh in your mind, but also that's just how my schedule works. Like I can't. It's hard for me to go. Okay, I need to set aside an hour and a half to go watch this show every week at a certain particular time.
You know, and
Usually
we're
it
going-
happens. I'll have a weekend where I'm not. Basically, if it rains in Houston, which happens a lot in the spring and summer, I'm like, well, I can't go work outside of my cars, so I'm going to go binge watch something. Yes, so when that happens, which will probably be like this coming up weekend, since I just cursed myself,
Yeah.
I will get to binge The Mandalorian. Get to watch all the episodes.
And we've come full circle now. That's exactly the way that cleaning happens, where all the people who are like, I'll do 5-10 minutes of cleaning every day. No, I'm like, no, I'll do 8 hours of cleaning
Yeah.
once
Yeah, just
once a week, kind of
Do
thing.
all
you
of it,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
of
because
it.
when I do cleaning, too, like the big cleans, like part of that's also like, okay, now I got to clean the pinball machines, get underneath it, clean the glass and all that stuff,
Yeah, big stuff.
clean the garbage disposal, clean the traps out of the dishwashers, all that. There's so much stuff you got to clean.
Mm-hmm. And the more stuff you have, the more you got to clean.
More you got to clean.
Yeah. Or you don't clean it, and it's just gross.
Yeah, it just gets gross. Ugh.
Yeah. It's funny because I clean half of my basement. I have what I call the dirty side, and I have the clean side. And the electronics are all done on the clean side, and I keep the desk nice. And I have a rug in my basement. My basement's unfinished. I have a rug in there that I vacuum, like I make that nice. But the other side where I weld and do woodworking and stuff, it's just, it's a nightmare.
The rug just tie the room together.
Oh, it's just chef's kiss.
So back to podcast episodes. So I'd love to hear from our Slack channel what their favorite episodes or their favorite guests were, so I can compile this article. But our top downloaded episodes. So I also looked at like stats and stuff. Our top downloaded is episode 153, Discrete Atomic Loofah Control, which was when we had Chris Kraft and Benjamin Heckendorn on the podcast down in the bomb shelter. This was right before Hurricane Harvey hit, like a couple months before Hurricane Harvey, if I recall.
Yeah, they were down for like a fishing trip, and you guys went on a flight in a B-17 bomber, and did all kinds of cool
this
stuff.
episode is really, really weird because like
It
the
is
topics
weird.
just go everywhere.
Yeah.
But this is the thing about this episode. It is a landslide of how much more people listen to this.
Which is strange.
Yeah, it is, because most of our episodes tend to like limit around 5,500-ish downloads. This has over 10,000 now. And then we have a couple that are like 7,000, but like there's 3,000 downloads between number 1 and number 2. It's quite a gap.
And it's funny because the topic, the loofah topic, what if I remember right in that episode, it wasn't even like no one planned on it. It was just like randomly brought up by Chris Kraft.
Yeah, about like we'll talk about 3D printing.
Right.
And then he brought up
loofahs being like efficient.
like a biological 3D printer.
Well, yeah, but like efficient infill kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. Kind of. Like if you could take a loofah and then you could genetically engineer like the stuff inside to have it just print, in quote, I'm using print quotes, stuff inside of it, because it could just assemble stuff. That's a really weird episode. Go listen to it, everyone.
I was just about to say the same thing. It was super weird.
I love that episode so much too.
Yeah. Whatever works. Yeah. At this point, after 370 something episodes, I hate to say it, but it's really hard to just even have an idea of what works, because everything you think works gets flipped on its head the next week.
Yeah, in terms of downloads, the only thing I do know is, during like spring break, like March in the United States, our listenership drops off like a rock.
All the college kids.
Yeah.
They're out partying, not listening to cool podcasts like this.
Yeah, cool podcasts. We actually do get a lot of listens from universities.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, send in either on the Slack channel, which is macfed.com/Slack, or emails at podcast@macfed.com, or tweet or however you want to contact us on what your favorite episode was, or an episode that you think would be a good way to introduce people to the podcast. Because that's actually what the article is going to be about.
There's a difference between what's a favorite episode and what's good for someone who's never listened before.
That's true. Yeah. The episode. Remember the first episode we had Misha, who's the CEO of Macrofab, on.
Oh, with the whole vectors of attack.
Yes, that episode is great because that was a supply chain episode, and that podcast. Like, I just remember because Misha was talking about supply chain security, and he brought up like how the federal government took over and basically man-middled a whole bunch of routers at one point. And Steven, you're like, oh yeah, that's a good story. And then Misha's like, no, it happened. And you were like, oh.
Uh-oh.
So.
You know, another good one that stands out to me, in fact, I've used it recently, some information from it, was when we had Cody on from Macrofab to talk about ERAI and the counterfeit parts, basically database. I shared that with some people recently, and they're like, I didn't even know that this existed, and they're part of a quality team. And they're like, this is fantastic. I was like, yeah, go check out this episode with Cody.
EIA.
ERAI.
Oh, yeah, there you are. Yeah. I think I got it wrong during that podcast, too.
I'm pretty sure we both did.
Yeah. That was a good podcast episode for because that was in the midst of all the supply chain stuff, and if that's even good, that organization's a good place anyways right now, just for counterfeit parts and who's legit in the industry and that kind of stuff. So if you're finding a new manufacturer for yourself, you can go look them up there and see do they have anything on their record. It's a permanent record of someone's manufacturing business.
Oh yeah, Cody was mentioning some guys who are hey, they're fine now, but a decade ago they had
problems,
some black marks on their record and stuff. Problems. And so it just gives you that much more firepower, and to have a unified database where you can just search and figure that out. You don't have to have contacts or whatnot who know these kinds of things. It's fantastic.
Okay, so I'm going to start doing this now, because one of the feedback I've heard was we kind of just jump to the next topics a lot. So I'm actually kind of putting in a break, I guess. But I'm
breaking.
I'm kind of breaking the fourth wall, I guess, on this, because what I was going to do is be oh, so before we go into the next topic, do you have anything else to talk about this topic about?
Oh,
yeah.
No, I don't.
No, me neither.
So let's jump to the next topic.
Let's go to the next topic. So, so far I don't have any bullet points for this one yet, because we're going to come up with them. Is the next electrical engineering contest. So we're going to do another contest for the podcast. We need to come up with the topic, I guess, or theme. Is theme a good term for it?
Yeah, I guess so. It's been a few years since we've done a contest. The last contest was useless device, right?
Useless device.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that one's gonna be hard to beat. I think, because that was a lot of fun. But I want to start spitballing some ideas on podcast, a contest idea, I guess.
Yeah. In fact, I was going to bring this up the other day, and obviously we can do something different. But Hackaday just released, on the 11th of April, they released their op-amp challenge. So it was designing circuits just entirely around op-amps, and you could do whatever you want. They just has to incorporate op-amps. So something in those lines would be fun. So actually, for those who are interested, go check out the op amp challenge over on Hackaday. They have some really cool just ideas in their introduction article. So yeah, we need a theme or an idea for the next engineering contest. Just in general, we're talking about this year, right? I mean, the contest is gonna happen
I'm
this
thinking
summer-ish.
Yeah, I was thinking about basically like start the contest when summer break hits for college.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. Yeah.
So some ideas I just came up with, like maybe we do like USB powered only devices. So anything that's USB powered.
Okay. USB C.
Could be C. I did not specify what type.
Because there's potentially a lot of power available.
Exactly. Or low power. It just has to be USB powered. What else? I was looking at CAN bus stuff, but I don't know how interesting people like. It might get more people to do CAN bus stuff, but I don't know how widespread that would be.
One thing we have not done before, I don't think we have. Well, most of our design contests have been wide open, such that what people are going for is just we get a huge variety of stuff. I'm wondering if it might be fun to do something where we have one target and everyone approaches it in a different way. Say like try to make the lowest power X. And I don't know what X
so like
is, but
so instead of a funnel, it's a megaphone.
Yeah. Like there's a target and somebody does the best job at hitting the target, as opposed to just like making us laugh.
Yeah, we can do it that way.
Those are fun. It's just a thought,
Yeah.
Like your comment on low power stuff is basically the cat feeder on reminder.
Yeah.
Your project, like, who could make the lowest power cat feeder on reminder?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't make people make a cat feeder and reminder though.
I'm just using an example.
Yeah. That's the trick is like what topics do you want? So if people have ideas, post them in the Slack channel. Kind of lean towards the USB device, like USB powered device, just because that kind of like limits kind of the scope in some ways. But who knows?
Yeah, it needs to be wide enough that people want to go and do it. Because something that was going through my mind is, it would be really cool to have a design contest where the result was open source, such that people could build it. And so something like a USB powered voltage reference or something like that, such that if you needed like a really nice, I don't know, how about this has extra challenge behind it, a really nice 10-volt reference or something like that, so you couldn't just regulate down. You'd have to boost up and then come up with 10 volts, or something of that sort could be fun. Something that at the end of the day people would want to build for themselves. That could be cool. And actually, something that would be fun too is a design contest where we even look at your documentation. So it's not that you just have to make a thing. We have to be able to review how to make your thing, But maybe that's mean.
That was part of the last contest, was documentation, where we could, part of the criteria was on documentation.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It wasn't a big percentage of the results, but it was in there. Making that like the sole thing, be like, we don't care what you give us, but the documentation needs to be amazing.
Yeah, now that would be fun. Something where FR4 is used as an enclosure, that would be fun to have as part of a contest as well.
That would
just
be
because
fun.
I'd love to see how people get creative with utilizing FR4.
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
Let's pencil that one in for now. FR4 enclosures.
Yeah. Or maybe it's something where FR4 enclosures gets you an extra thumbs up. I don't know. Just spitball in here.
That use, how about structural FR4?
Ooh, I like that. FR4 is the engineer's mechanical material.
Why? Because it's
Or
super
electrical
stable.
engineers.
Yeah, I was about to say
mechanical.
electrical
That's what I
engineering.
meant. Electrical engineers. That's what I meant. Because it's the one thing they know how to work with.
Yeah. Well, also you don't have to. You don't tolerance it. You stay above a number, and you're good.
I know that's a topic that we've been trying to breach.
Yeah.
For
I
like
want
a
someone
few
to talk about
months
that.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like tolerancing, mechanical tolerancing, and electrical engineering. Like how do we connect all the dots here?
Mm-hmm. What were the?
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Some way of practically using FR4 outside of just electronics, or in conjunction.
in conjunction.
Like
Yeah.
if your enclosure also included FR4, like signaling or power or whatnot,
Mhm.
that could be cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
We might come up with a different idea too, but that would be the one we penned in right now or pencil in.
So we'll try to have this all ironed out before the summer. That's
yeah, maybe in like by next episode or in 2 episodes we'll have the topic and actually like float it out there and then start making the rules up, which is basically copy and paste from 2 years ago.
Didn't you made some kind of device?
Trophy. We both did.
We both did. No. We made a trophy that displayed the temperature of Mars
It
or
was the
weather on
weather.
Mars.
It's a weather from Mars.
The weather from Mars, but I'm thinking of something completely different. Where you made something that was like an array of parts that could be addressed, and then you could still break them apart at one point in time. It was like V-scored, but had traces in the V-score or something. What am I?
Oh, that was some LED panels I was testing for pinball stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, they were like serialized LEDs, like a APA 102. And so the panel, the traces were connected, but then you could snap it apart and it would just snap through the traces.
Okay.
So you could test it as a panel.
Right.
But each one has its own connectors, basically. So
you would have exposed copper on the edge after that, but in the application it was fine.
It was fine. Yeah.
Okay, so that's got me thinking. Maybe we could do a slight follow me on this. Maybe we could do a slight artistic bent to this. What if we did a project where I'm just thinking here, you have to make the whole project on a flat PCB, but then it breaks apart and it solders into something 3-dimensional that is still electrical.
PCB origami.
Yeah, PCB origami, but like maybe there's still like LEDs in different orientations or something like that. So, but it has to be made on a flat panel first, and then breaks apart and solders together into something 3-dimensional. I don't know how many people would be interested in doing that.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't want. I know we just said project that uses FR4 in structural ways. I also kind of don't want to force people to buy a bunch of PCBs and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
But maybe that is
a bunch of waste PCBs. Around.
Yeah. So stuff to think about. Like the whole like last time was the useless projects. It never even really it had to be electronic in some way, and that was it. And we had a lot of people who just built breadboarded stuff, which was fine.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's just a thought.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on electrical engineering contest?
No, Parker. We can jump to the next topic.
when was this? Like 2 months ago. But yeah, back in February, I bought a 2021 Chevy box truck, and we kind of like talked for I think like 10 minutes of just like the plans. Basically, I'm going to turn it into an RV, or I am turning it into an RV, I should say, right now. So I'm going to give an update on it. It's not the most exciting stuff I've been working on because a lot of it is just doing 12-volt wiring and like sound deadening in the cab. But I basically finished all what I'm calling the auxiliary power infrastructure. So it actually has 2 of these in the truck. So it has one side is like everything that the truck needs to drive, right? To drive around, and like what you use while you're driving around. And then there's like the RV side, and I'm kind of keeping them as 2 separate systems. So if one dies, you still got the other side. Everything works fine. So the truck side is like 95% done in terms of that. The RV side haven't even started yet.
I would hope so because it's a new car. Like I would hope that you didn't have that much more to do.
Well, so I'm all the stuff I'm adding, the big thing with it was I didn't want to splice into any of the factory harnesses. I actually removed all the stuff that the company that built the box truck part of the upfitter. I actually removed what they did to the harness and put it back to factory. And so, basically, like I put in a radio harness because I put in an aftermarket, like an Android Auto compatible dash unit, and that's how I got switched power out of, because it's a GM Chevy product, and there's no like switched voltage signal anymore. You have to go through CAN bus. So there's basically it's a module that like talks CAN bus and like fakes being a radio, and then it passes the audio and signaling stuff to like a normal dash unit. It does like the middle talk to the CAN bus for you, but it gives you the switching signals and all that stuff you need to do everything else you need. So I added I guess I can throw some pictures up on the show notes. A auxiliary fuse box underneath the hood, so I had to build a bracket. I built lots of brackets. There's a lot of brackets. So I built a bracket to hold the fuse box. Are you just making these with like steel and an angle grinder? Aluminum.
Oh, okay.
Aluminum and bending it. And putting in like threaded holes and stuff like that. They look good. Like
nice.
I wanted them to look like when like I had to do like a factory like a warranty or something, like the mechanic would look at that and be like, that's not the problem.
I like it. Oh, is this in relation to your aluminum welding the other day, and the whole text about aluminum welding sucks?
Yes, aluminum welding. I actually ended up not welding it and just building that bracket in a different way.
Redesign as opposed to get more skillful at a skill.
Yeah, at aluminum welding, because my skill level at aluminum welding is in the negative, I would say. Like I do more damage than actually performing the weld with aluminum.
Aluminum sucks.
Steel TIG welding, I'm actually not bad at it now. Aluminum, no idea what I'm doing wrong. No idea. So yeah, I got the and I put in like a auxiliary relay panel underneath the hood too. So it's got 2 basically big chunky solenoid relays. One, when you turn it on, it basically activates the lift gate in the back. By the way, most lift gates on trucks are just powered up all the time. So if you know how to run them, you can just go to a truck and run it.
I mean, yeah, most of them just have a little switch, like a 2-way switch on it.
Yeah. Well, some have like a secret switch. That's like the power on switch that's in the back. But
Does
the,
yours have a secret switch?
it does have a secret switch. But mine, I actually made it so that it doesn't get power all the time.
Okay.
So I have a relay or a solenoid, I should say. It's a contactor. I have a contactor underneath the hood that only sends power when you flip a switch in the dash on.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
there's multiple steps to get the liftgate working.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't want to send power to the rear of the truck with 4-gauge wire all the time. That didn't really sound like a good idea to me. So it has
You know, if you're like a delivery guy and you're doing 8 hours a day with that lift gate and stuff, totally makes sense to just be able to hop out of the cab, go and flip a switch, and it's running. But for you, the way you're approaching it,
99% of the time, not I'm going to be using the lift gate. So I
Right.
was like, I'm just going to have a relay that turns it off.
yeah, totally makes sense.
And then I have another relay, big relay, that does the switched power for the truck. So I get the signal from the head unit area that 12 volt is on, like the run ignition switch. That's on. That goes out into the hood where there's a big relay, and it flips that relay on. And then I have 150 amps worth of switched power now that goes to a fuse box that I put in.
So you have like a power distribution box inside the cab, or not the cab, the box, right?
Yes. No. This is under the hood. This is just the truck side. So this runs stuff like the transmission fan, runs stuff like I have an air system for the truck. The great thing about this project is I'm reusing all the stuff I like took off or ended up not using on my previous projects. So like I have a whole like air compressor system that I was using on my red Jeep and I took off because I put a different system on. So I have this whole like nice system. I'm like, oh, I get to put that on this truck now. So I'm basically reusing, like depleting all my reserve parts, which is nice. So yeah, I got basically all that. I'll post the pictures, but that side's almost all done. Over the weekend, I finished up the trailer wiring. So I have like a trailer controller and trailer brake controller, and so I had to run like big beefy wires through, like 20 feet back to the back of the truck through the frame, and put in all the terminal blocks in the back so I can run all the wiring out properly to all the lights and stuff. Then I finished up the dash. Like I made a little dash plate that will hold I have a switch panel that's actually from. It's not for the Chevy Express van, which is what I have. It's for like the Silverado trucks, because you can buy like the upfitter module. The upfitter module is just like a fuse. It's a relay box that goes up underneath your dash. I think you can buy them for like $90 with like the switch panel and stuff. It's really nice on like eBay. And I bought one, and it doesn't fit the van, of course, but some soldering, some crimping, you can make anything fit. And so I modified it and put it all in. So I have a really nice factory-looking, switch panel in the dash.
It was funny because Parker sent me a text of it the other day, and I pulled it up. I was like, God dang, dude! I thought you designed the whole thing, or I thought you manufactured like all the switches and everything.
No.
It's like, oh man, dang, dude, that looks awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a factory part.
Yeah.
Got all that wired in, and again, it's none of it actually interacts with or splices into the factory harness. I wanted everything to be separate. I installed a Banks iDash. It's basically a CAN bus multi-gauge, and that way I can read all the sensors. So like I can get the transmission temperature, oil temperature, all that good stuff. And you can put warnings on it. So like if it over temps, well, you can basically put a warning that's below like what's bad. So like usually a lot of times like your check engine light will only let you know when stuff's really going wrong. Okay, especially when it's temperature. Like let's say transmission.
Especially if it blinks. If that thing is blinking,
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
So with this device, I can set a lower threshold, so be more like a warning. So I can be like, hey, if the transmission temperature is getting to like 190, like start flashing to be like, you should, maybe not be throttling up a mountain or something, or whatever you're doing. Don't do it.
Just stop. Whatever.
Yeah. So you can preemptively, stop harm from happening. Whereas, check engine lights, like, hey, something's probably broken. You should probably, do something about it. So.
Yeah. My car had that engine, check engine light start blinking the other day. And long story short, I got a whole brand new engine out of it because one of the bearings in my engine decided to just disintegrate. And
it became
apparently
chips.
The oil was was metallic.
Oh, no.
Not very good. Not very good. But, warranty takes care of things like that.
So the cool thing, though, so far, I don't know if other manufacturers of these kind of trucks and vans like Ford and stuff do this, but GM and Chevy have this whole upfitter documentation website. I think it's called gmupfitter.com. And you can just go and download all the documentation you need to work on these trucks in terms of upfitting them. So there's a whole schematic you can get of the whole truck. So it shows you where the connectors are, what the pinouts are. So I've been using that to kind of figure out where signals are at and where I can get the right data from. And it also has stuff like the part numbers for the pin, the connectors themselves. Now, unfortunately, it's using the GM part number for the terminals. So I wanted to add more speakers because they only had the door speakers installed in my truck. It didn't have the rear speakers for the radio, but I wanted to add them in, and it just didn't have the wires for them. And so basically what I had to do is, I pull up the schematic, found the connector that I had to add the terminals to, and it has some GM part number for the terminals, and you look them up and they want $15 for one of them, and I'm like, I need 4, so I'm not going to buy, because I know they're 15 cents at Mauser if I find out what the actual manufacturer is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they actually just tell you what the connector is, what the series is, and so you just go to basically you just take the series number, the connector, go look for it on TE Connectivity's website or Mauser or whatever. Then you find the right one. You go, okay, it's a 48 position. It's this connector. It's this terminal. So it's this part number for the blade that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pay 15 cents.
Nice.
So, some hoops to jump through, but I guess they really want you to spend $15 for a terminal to add speaker, or it'd be $60 plus tax and shipping just to add speakers. Well, that's all of them are like that, though.
But the cab in that car is not that big, so the difference between rear and front speakers is nothing, right?
Yeah, you're right, but this is way I can use the other drivers that are in the dash, the radio unit, because it's a 4-channel.
Yeah. The actual drivers or the amplifier exists.
Yeah,
it's just not connected to anything.
Just not connected to anything. So now it is.
Yeah. Oh. Where did you actually mount the speakers, though?
They're going to go up in the headliner above your head, slightly behind your head. So you're gonna have to play. I'm gonna have to play with the balance to make it sound.
Yeah, I was about to say because it'll be a little funky.
Yeah, but at least it will have 4 speakers instead of just 2 speakers by your feet.
Right.
So.
Box trucks are not designed for the luxury aspect.
No, it's not
anything.
But on the luxury aspect, I did add sound deadening to all the doors underneath the vinyl flooring. I added some super thick sound deadening underneath there, and the headliner itself, I lined it with more sound deadening. It's actually kind of quiet for a box truck. It's actually, if anything, it's quieter than like an RV is. RVs are actually not that quiet driving down the road when you're inside one.
Yeah.
It's actually quiet, almost. It's either on par or quieter than like an RV now. So it's not bad.
Nice.
Now, I don't know how loud it is back in the box, but at least in the cab with the door shut, it's pretty quiet.
Well, but you're not going to be riding around in the back.
No, not in the back.
Nobody's going to be riding around in the back.
I hope not.
They shouldn't be.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. So the next step on that is to kind of wrap up some of the stuff. Like I got to put the transmission cooler in, that kind of stuff. I think actually that is like the last thing I need to do is put the transmission cooler in and get it plumbed up. And then I can start doing the fun stuff, which is like the RV part.
Yeah, I was about to say the last part of just the truck side of
Yes.
this.
Yeah. And I kind of split it up that way. I wanted to make sure the truck part is all good and ready to go, and then do the RV part. Because unfortunately, the RV part, like for the truck side, like I can just like the transmission cooler I've had in my attic for like 5 years. Like I thought I was going to use it on another project and bought it. Ended up it basically was way too big to fit on my red Jeep. But guess what? It's perfect for the big box truck because it has all the space in the world for it. So like I get to reuse like all these parts I've collected over the past decade almost. I'm like using them. So it's been great. I'm like, I not have to spend any money. It's just time and harness tape.
But that's the fun part.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Now the RV side's gonna be a lot of fun because I've built a lot of cars before, and like I've done this kind of electrical stuff and transmission coolers and this kind of stuff on lots of cars and trucks. So I've done it before and I'm really good at it. So now, but you know, it's kind of like one of those it's old hat at this point, right?
Yeah.
Now I get to build the RV part, which I've never done before. The downside is I have none of the parts for it. So it's going to like go, you know, eat my my parts budget now. Because best thing about the past couple months is, you know, I haven't had to spend any money on it because it's just I have all the parts. But now that's gonna flip over. Especially when I do like the solar panel lithium battery setup. I'm not looking forward to seeing what kind of budget I have to put together for that.
The fun money just dissolves real fast.
Yeah. Well, that's the best thing about when, you know, the fun stuff, at least the past couple months for this was, I never had to spend any of the money. So all the money just goes right in your bank account to save it up. And that's been great not have to, you know, spend it. But now it's going to be like, oh, now I have to have a budget to buy all these car parts. Because I'm not going to go reach into savings. That'd be silly. So, well, I don't think we're going to get to our next topic.
No, we're right about an hour now.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about the SpaceX Starship explosion launch thing. It was really cool to watch. I got to watch it live.
It was really cool. I have some things to say about it. I think we should save it for future topic.
Okay. Yeah, we'll save it for next week then.
Cool. So, that was the Macrofab Engineering Podcast. We were your hosts, Stephen Craig.
And Parker Dillman.
Take it easy.
Later, everyone.
Thank you, yes, you, our listener, for downloading our podcast. If you have a cool idea, project, or topic, let Parker and I know. Tweet us at Macrofab, at Longhorn Engineer, or at AnalogENG, or email us at podcast@macrofab.com. Also, check out our Slack channel. You can find it at macrofab.com/Slack.
There we go. Yeah, almost right at an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to... Because, like, I know, like, the AC system all the parts for my AC system is like $3,000, and I'm like, oh no.
Yikes.
Which means like I have to save up for a couple months before I buy it.
Yeah, for sure. Yup.
But it's one of those. If I don't put that one together, I will have an inferior system that I will feel bad about, and I'll have to replace it in like 5-6 years.
Yeah, you do it right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. I had a long conversation where Roz talked me off the ledge the other day.
Oh yeah.
About exactly that, where I was like, we need to cut things on the CNC. Like, we're actually getting to the point where, like, we're really close to getting customer orders. So I was like, we need to get this CNC up and running. And I was like, so perhaps we cut some corners, perhaps we blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, if you cut corners now, you'll never do it. I was like, you're right, Roz. You're right.
Yep.
Don't cut corners. Just do it right now. Because, like, you're motivated now to do it.
Yes.
Do it right.
Do it right. Yep. Exactly. And that's how I've been treating the whole electrical side of it too. Like on the truck side is like doing it right. And being able to reuse a lot of parts that I have really motivates me too. Like I'm like depleted. Like, did you even understand like how much of above here in the attic of how many car parts I've like bought or swapped for and haven't really been able to use because like they just ended up not fitting or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I can use that. Oh, I have a whole roll of wiring loom that I get to use now.
Yeah.
So all that 10 gauge wire I didn't use for like the brewery rig. Now I could use that to wire up the trailer. Trailer wiring.
Sometimes being a hoarder is nice.
I only keep stuff that I know I can use. I get rid of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But like the transmission cooler,
Yeah.
that hurt 5 years ago when I bought it and it didn't fit. And I'm like, shit, I can't return this. 'Cause it's like a $300 cooler. Looks like I got everything.
Okay.
All right. Catch everyone later. Thanks for showing.